I went to my mom and asked her the name of the last show, movie, or book she saw that portrayed a nerd, an Asian hacker, the gay best friend, the crazy Latina that's always yelling, or the girl whose entire plotline revolves around her weight. The funny thing was that she struggled to find an answer, even though that there was an entire list that occurred to me. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Well, I hate to break it to you all, but those kinds of content are not diverse. Just a few of the many harmful, cliché stereotypes that the media has instilled in us. When I was 5 years old, I was going through my princesses obsession. I watched a lot of the movies, and at school it was a sensation. So eventually, at recess, we did role play. So I'm with my little friends, and then this one girl comes to me and says, "You cannot play." And I ask her, "Why not?" Then she goes, "Because the princess is white and you're not." I am Latina. My skin is not exactly white, and at that moment, I couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Now I realize the girl wasn't being racist. She was 5. She was just saying what she had seen in her environment. See the danger misrepresentation might have done to that girl? And by misrepresentation, I mean the lack of diversity. Yes, that kind of real diversity that includes life in all its shapes, colors, and forms. At 8, I was surprised to see a couple of beautiful ladies holding hands with us. Because even though that I've been taught that love came in many ways, I've never actually seen it. See the danger misrepresentation might have done to me had I not understood some things years later? At 9, I couldn't believe that a kid in my class could have a neurological condition called attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder and still have good grades. At 11, my body started changing. I went through puberty earlier as well as others, and it was normal because my genetics made it that way. So I suddenly went from 5'6" to 5'8" in a year. My face looked like a pizza, and it still does. My legs toned, and little stretch marks popped. You know, normal hormonal changes that some go through, others don't. Yet it was a time when social media blasted. Lots of popular shows were the blueprint in my generation. But the thing was that the teenagers in these shows didn't look like me, didn't go through what I was going through. I knew everything was normal, but still, for a teenager under construction, it matters to know that it is a right to change, to be seen, to see ourselves in others. At 13, books, movies, and even other people told me that it was better if I wasn't like other girls, that being basic wasn't appealing and stuff. Besides, that's a very misogynistic and patriarchal conception. You see the danger they're doing to girls that age that might not be so lucky as I was to open my eyes. We've heard from adults lots of times the classic one. They're trying to shove up our throats our diversity. Well, I want you all to know a secret. Actually, I want you all to stick that in your heads because, spoiler alert, it is the moral of the story. Diversity equals reality. You see, an accurate and beautiful definition of diversity is the understanding that each of us is unique and different and celebrates those differences. Just as Maya Angelou said, in diversity, there is beauty and there is strength. Given this, the media is a powerful domain that can lighten our days with great shows, conferences, memes, funny debates. Of course, I haven't participated in those, but also, given its easy reach, it grossly influences. Who do you think? Teenagers. And nowadays, it is hard to consume any media without seeing whichever form of diversity. Whether it is good or not, that's another thing. We see it on all the movies we watch, social media, and even the news. So it is important and good that these mass sources adapt their content to what reality is. I saw it, for example, with the Latina women stereotypes. Almost all of the appearances in the media were harmful. We are considered exotic and portrayed overly sexualized by our bodies and even language, besides a very classical violent behavior. I felt so outraged that the world had that image of me and a whole community, because we're more than that. What happens when you see a character with your body type, speaks your language, shares your beliefs, or that has the same medical condition as you? You immediately feel seen. We all do. I personally started to make peace with my appearance after choosing social media content and literature that pair with my interest. It has been amazing, but I gotta recognize that there is still more visibility to be done. See, the benefits are plenty, many, several, but in a shell, diversity in what we see, consume, and project offers the most honest display of real-life experiences, along with the exposure of minorities and their culture to others. It is what allowed me to grow from all the scenarios I told you about and realize how I wanted or not to be seen. The change starts with simple things. Let's give credit to underrepresented groups for their job. Seek out and use their content, support their art, encourage and celebrate their work. In just one word, respect. No, we're not trying to shove up anyone's throat our diversity. It is our right to be and feel seen. Not to mention, they have the problems teens confront later in their adult life, comes from a background of not being seen, heard, and identified. And asking amongst my classmates, family, and friends their feelings regarding their growing relationship with the media they consume, the answers were disappointing, but did not surprise me. I went pretty much through the same. It wasn't new to hear people my age and even older say that it hurt to not see themselves in their favorite characters, never being lead in a show, or their differences being stereotyped rather than celebrated properly and realistically. All of this said and stated, you might wonder, what is the real purpose for all of this? Well, first of all, something you might have formulated by now is one of my favorite life rules and mottos. You cannot have a narrow mind in a world with a big snout, because you'll be eaten alive. Second of all, do I even need to explain it? I want to see a world where an older version of myself thought that it was okay for me to have acne on my face, to speak 3 different languages and not be perfect at any, that my body is healthy, that my beliefs are valid, that I'm free to love whoever I want, all without barriers. I don't want to see more children wanting to eat the world, and in the end, it is slowly backwards. We don't want more young people in uncomfortable scenarios like the ones I was put in. Everything, so no child has to ask, "Mom, why don't they look like me?" Thank you.